What's going on, people? Don't even know if you can hear me. Going to pause the music, hopefully. There we go. My hair's a mess. I am a mess, but we are going live right now. Adam, thank you so much for tuning in. Met Adam actually walking away from Crypto.com Arena for one of the last times. Adam is the one of the Clippers radio people. He does an amazing job with Clippers Talk on iHeartRadio after the game, before the game, during the game. So, Adam, thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are back. I was off since early, maybe mid last week. So we didn't really get to talk about a lot of things that happened over the weekend, what happened today with Paul George. So today we're going to get into what happened on Podcast P, what happened with the Clippers over the past 5-6 days. We're going to go over the DeMar DeRozan to the Kings. We're going to do a lot of different things here. May bring in a few people if need be. But first of all, I wanted to get into, and again, excuse me if my hair is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Excuse me if the camera goes in and out here and there. It looks like I have a bowl cut right now, but we are here to just have some fun. It doesn't matter. We are here to just talk. So, the Clippers thing with Paul George. Paul George, you know what he has. He has a podcast. If anyone didn't know that, Paul George has a podcast. And he went on that podcast, Podcast P, if you guys want to check it out. And I guess he thanked the Clippers for the 5 years that he was here. He also talked about a lot of the behind-the-scenes things, what happened in negotiations, what happened with the Clippers in their instance, what happened with a lot of the things with Kawhi Leonard and the contract extension. And, so first of all, I want to say a few things. Paul George said that the Clippers offered him a 2 for 60, 30 per year. A 2 for 60 extension in, I don't know when it was. I think he said October. I think I should probably pull it up. A 2 for 60 in October. I personally think that's disrespectful. That's fine. It's October. You work from there. That's the beginning part of the season. I get it. You got to work up from there. So the season goes by. Clippers don't start off well, right? They have that horrible stretch with James Harden. Then they go on that huge run with James Harden. And right at the peak of that, I'd say right before, things started to go downhill, that's when Kawhi Leonard signs his extension. And that's a 3-year. It was reported at 152, and now it's 3 for 149. So he goes and does that. We're like, hey, cool. He took a little bit less. We're going to run it back. James Harden's going to come back for less. Paul George is going to come back for less. We are good. So the media gets to start, talking about, oh, well, hey, PG, good to see you. How's everything going? Hey, your buddy Kawhi just signed an extension. When's yours? And all the talk at the beginning, and this is right after Kawhi signed his extension, it was, well, look, I'm hopeful that something's going to get done. I want to be here, and, we got a great thing going, and I understand that Kawhi took the, less to do it, and, I just want to be here. That's my main goal, but I don't have anything else for you. So, okay, the season goes on. Things start to go downhill a little bit, right? After that Grammy trip, things start to go downhill a little bit. Paul George's game starts to go down a little bit, right? If we remember, Paul George had about a 2-month stretch from, I wouldn't say 2 month, I'd say more of a 1-month stretch where it was really, I think it was about 19 points per game. It could be a little bit more than that. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But that is when Paul George started to kind of go downhill. And at that point, obviously the contract extension talks start to arise again. Hey, PG, haven't heard from you in a while. Anything going on the extension front? Zippo, right? And Adam brings up a fantastic point here that I didn't really take into account. And Adam, you're right. I think that contract affected him fully. If we look at when this happened, and there's a page that posted it, but this is kind of a troll page, so I don't know if I want to really put that up there. So many of those pages. But that slump that I was talking about, and like I just mentioned, it happened right after the Kawhi extension. So it happened right after his co-star, his guy, got his money, but Paul George did not. And, and you're right, Adam, he did say today that it basically did. So if we go back and look at the data, that month stretch where he was not himself, I think he had over 20 points, I think he had over 20 points maybe 5 times in that stretch, and that's a big stretch of time. We can kind of chalk that up now to him just being out of sorts because he didn't get his money and Kawhi did. Now, on one instance, I can say this, that may be a little bit childish. I could say that on one hand. I'm just going to put that out there. A lot of people can read into it that way. On the other hand, I kind of get it, right? Because you're the guy that in 2021, without Kawhi Leonard, and I know that Kawhi Leonard had a lot to do with that 2021 run that a lot of people aren't talking about. Kawhi Leonard was healthy until Game 5 of the Utah series. So that whole time, he was their best player. For round 1, the entirety of it, and for round 2, until he got hurt. The stats back it up. Go look it up. So Paul George, after that, yes, he did lead them in Games 5, and he didn't really lead them in Game 6, Terrence Mann did, but he was a big part of the Game 6 win. And then, obviously, in the conference finals, he did his thing in 2021. So he has that going. It's like, hey, I did this whole thing for you in 2021. Kawhi was hurt at that time. Kawhi was hurt in 22, and Paul George was too. But Paul George is probably thinking, wait a minute, he gets an extension before me, and he hasn't been available? I know I haven't been available as much, but at least I did that thing. Hey, remember me in 2021? Remember I did that? So, okay. I could understand that. Obviously, the Clippers are in flux at this time. They fall down to the 4 seed, almost the 5 seed. So we go into the playoffs, right? Well, Kawhi Leonard, he's been out for a few weeks, but what if he comes back? Then they're at full health. Here come the Clippers. Watch out for those Clippers. And Paul George, everyone's ready to go. They have their full squad. We're going to get Kawhi back, and he may be pretty healthy. Kawhi is not healthy. Okay? And at this point, the contract extension talks, and Adam, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In April, I think Tomer, our good friend Tomer, asked him this. Somebody did. I don't want to put Tomer's name out there. But it was either Tomer, Justin, somebody asked him this. They said, hey, any update on the contract extensions? Now, this is in April, right before the playoffs. This is when the Clippers are, not doing that well. And Paul George basically goes, I don't really want to talk about that right now. Can we move on? And look, I get it, right? Because you're going to the playoffs. It's not really a question you ask a guy, going into the playoffs. You're focused on the basketball part. So maybe he was just agitated. At the time, that's what I thought. Okay, he's just a little bit agitated, just a little bit annoyed. They're focused on the playoffs. Okay, I get that. So we go to the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard out Game 1. Uh-oh. Antennas go up. What's going on? Kawhi Leonard was supposed to be available by the playoffs. What happened? But Clipper fans, they're like, okay, fine. He'll be back later in the series. We'll be good. We got Paul George. We got James Harden. We got Russell Westbrook. Norm Powell. We're A-okay. Kawhi Leonard comes back in Game 2. Paul George has a fantastic Game 1. Him and James Harden go off in Game 1. Right? Everyone knows this. That Game 1 was a blowout of Dallas. Everyone's like, wait, what? Dallas? Come on. So we're thinking, oh my God, we don't even need Kawhi. They're playing better without him, honestly. Game 2 comes around. Kawhi Leonard's back. Uh-oh. Kawhi Leonard's back. It's over. The series is over. If we win Game 2, this is over. Offense sputters. They look out of sorts. Kawhi Leonard looks very rusty. He didn't do any 5-on-5s. They lose Game 2. At home. Going 1-1. So they're like, all right, fine. It's 1-1. We're going back Game 3. Somebody's got to step up, right? Paul George doesn't step up. Kawhi Leonard looks unhealthy, even more so than game 2. And now we're thinking, uh-oh, down 2-1. Kawhi Leonard doesn't look good. Ruled out for game 4. But what do Clipper fans say? And Adam, you probably know what I'm going to say. The runway is yours, PG. This is where you take over. This is where you earn that max contract that you're asking for. This is where you earn that 3 for $152 that you're asking for, the same as Kawhi Leonard. This is where you earn it. You're the number 1 guy. Kawhi Leonard's out. It's your turn. It's not James Harden's team. Remember? This was your team in 2021. So this is your time to lead them to the next round. Okay. So we go to game 4. Paul George has a fantastic game. Right? Paul George goes off in that game. It's like, oh my goodness, this is 2021 PG reincarnated. Oh my goodness, we are back. The series is tied 2-2. He hits that shot in the corner. Everyone's going crazy. Clipperland is going off. Everyone is like, uh-oh. It's 2-2 going back home with that Paul George. Pfft, this series is over. With Harden playing like that, closing down the stretch, pfft, it's over. So, game 5 at home. Ooh, the lights are bright, ladies and gentlemen. The lights are bright. It's in downtown LA. Game 5. Luka, Paul George, James Harden for a chance to take the series lead. Paul George is the number 1 guy. I am not going to read out his stat line. I'm just going to say that it was absolutely an atrocious game. From Paul George, from James Harden. James Harden, look, I know I keep mentioning his name along with Paul George. James Harden had a fine series because at least he was distributing the ball. He is a ball handler, and he was getting guys open. He was getting guys in their spots. At least he can do that. So they fail in Game 5. They have I think it was the worst loss in franchise history in the playoffs at home. And maybe it was at home. Maybe it was in general. I don't know what it was. It was horrible. Embarrassing loss. With an emphasis on that B in embarrassing. If you can hear stuff in the background, I apologize. But so, okay, fine. No contract talks, no contract extension talks, just basketball. We're focused on the title. We're that close. Yeah, we're down 3-2. So what? We go to game 6. And what does Paul George do? Another stinker. Not enough shots. He's not taking enough shots. He's not being aggressive. Everything that could go wrong went wrong in Game 5 and in Game 6 for Paul George. So while everybody else is talking about, well, look at how great of a player Paul George is. And I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to bash the guy because he got the Clippers to one of the best spots the best spot they've ever been in their franchise history. They have never gotten to the conference finals before Paul George led them there. He is a Clipper great. He is a Clipper legend. He is one of the best Clippers of all time. I am talking right now about the contract. So Paul George gets on his podcast, announces the number 8 Sixers jersey, which, by the way, the Sixers leaked, and some other people leaked, so he didn't even get to announce it on his podcast. And he's talking about, well, I think Kawhi Leonard would have came, I think I would have went to Toronto with Kawhi Leonard. Really, dude? I don't think so. He was coming to LA, whether it be the Lakers or the Clippers. He wanted to come back home. You were actually one of the last options. Kevin Durant was one of his top options. Jimmy Butler was one of his top options. So I don't know about that one, but he said it, so I'm going to have to roll with it. Said, hey, we could have teamed up on the Raptors. He wanted to go back to Toronto. Fine. But what he also said, and this is the main point, is what he said was, back when that contract was offered, I wanted that same contract that Kawhi Leonard got. I wanted that contract because up to that point, remember, all he had was the 2 for 60, right? That was the only offer out there. And then the Clippers finally did business with him and they said, okay, here's 3 for 150. That's what Kawhi Leonard got. We're giving it to you, just like you asked, Paul George. Isn't this what you wanted? Isn't this what you asked for? And Paul George goes and says, well, actually, hey, guys, I know you're going to hate me. You're really going to hate me, guys. But how about you just sprinkle in a no-trade clause for us? Why don't you just sprinkle that in there? Also, is it possible to maybe get the max? Maybe just another year. Just can you add like maybe one more year to that? And the Clippers front office, and look, I don't know what happened. I'm just speculating along with all you guys. I'm going based off what I'm hearing. The Clippers front office is probably like, wait a minute. You just said that you wanted the same contract that Kawhi Leonard did. We gave it to you, did we not? So I get it from the Clippers front office. I get it. I get the frustration. Because it's like, wait a minute, you just asked for what we gave Kawhi and we gave it to you. Now you're going to try to strong arm us and get more? Just because you know you because we didn't know that a lot of teams were going to offer him the max in the offseason. We didn't really. It wasn't like solidified. We didn't know Philly was going to do that. We didn't know, Orlando had that money and they were like, hey, we're going to go try to get him. We didn't really know that yet. So they offered him that deal. Then when he heard reports, oh, Philly wants me? Huh? Philly wants me for the max? Wait a minute, Clippers. Hey, things have changed. Can I maybe get that no trade clause in another year? And if I'm the Clippers front office, I'm going, wait a minute. We did what you asked. We gave you that contract extension in 2020, by the way. That massive, lucrative contract after you put up a dud in the bubble. Remember that one? That where you said in a conference, a press conference, shortly after that you did this because you wanted to win a title. You did this because you wanted to bring a championship to this organization. Remember that? Back in 2020, 4 years ago? Because I do. Clipper fans do. So it was an ugly exit. I figured this. But another thing, and this is going at Draymond Green's show, and this is going at Paul George's show. The Warriors thing. Can we get into that, please? The Warriors basically didn't offer the Clippers what they wanted. But Paul George seems to think, and Draymond Green seemed to think that it was the Clippers' fault that he's not a Golden State Warrior. He said, it was basically a done deal, and they talked to me about, bringing, playing alongside Podziemski and Kuminga and Moody and Looney and Steph and Draymond. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this clip and I'm going, wait a minute. Can you name those guys again? Can you go over that again, please? Oh, they talked to me about playing with Kuminga and Moody, and I'm going, wait a minute. Then what were they offering? Who are the Warriors offering in that sign and trade for the Clippers to actually accept it? Were they offering Chris Paul and Trace Jackson Davis and I don't know? They must have, because all those guys, if they said that, hey, you're going to play with all these guys, I talked to Steph, we were all on the same page. Yeah, but the Clippers aren't just going to trade you for nothing, buddy. When you're that type of player, where you're at an all-NBA level or at an all-star level, you're going to have to give a lot to get that player, whether it be a sign and trade or not. So this whole thing about, and Draymond Green said this as well on his podcast, and this is no disrespect towards these guys. I'm just addressing things that they said. Draymond Green goes, well, the Clippers didn't want to, they played hardball with us. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, he basically said it was the Clippers' fault that Paul George is not a Warrior right now. And all the reports, and I'm not just, Paul George mentioned this too. All the reports, Ramona Shelburne put this out, everyone put this out, where the Warriors didn't really want to give up Kuminga. They didn't want to give a package of Kuminga and Moody and all this stuff. So, if I'm the Clippers, obviously I'm not going to take that deal, first of all, because it's very clear that the Clippers are going towards being financially and fiscally smart and trying to get under the aprons and trying to get under the luxury taxes and all these different things. They're trying to bring down the cost of everything, but still be competitive. So if we bring in Wiggins, if we bring in some of these if we take back Chris Paul, that's going to still put us over the second apron. And we're still going to be in the luxury tax, and we're still going to be one of the higher paid teams and older still. So while Draymond Green can say, like, oh, well, they didn't want to play ball with us, they kind of just struck down the deal. Well, yeah, duh. It was going to be Kuminga and Moody or Kuminga and Wiggins or no deal. You had to give up Kuminga to get Paul George, guys. So a lot of the things that Paul George said in his podcast and a lot of things that Draymond Green said, it's contradictory. Because it's kind of like these players don't even know that we can listen to them. Hey, there are reports of people out there like with very good knowledge of inside things that tell us what the packages were, that tell us who was going in and out in these trades, that tell us what reported offers were. I don't think the players really get that yet, especially the podcasting ones. I don't think they get it yet. Like, you can't just say something and then have 5 other reporters, very credentialed reporters that have very good knowledge of these things, refute what you're saying. And obviously, we didn't know all the behind-the-scenes stuff that Paul George mentioned. And again, am I just supposed to believe it? Yeah, because it's kind of it's coming straight from him, so I kind of gotta believe it. But again, that could be lying too. I don't know. PG could be lying. How am I to prove it? How am I to prove that he only got a 2 for 60? I can't call Steve Ballmer and Lawrence Frank and Michael Winger on the front office and say, hey, guys, is that true? I can't do that personally. It's above me, as they like to say. But again, I'm going based off what they said, and I just didn't really like the way it came off. To where it's like, oh, it's the Clippers' fault. It's the Clippers' fault. It's the Clippers' fault. When in reality, it kind of wasn't. Could they have offered him a 4th year? Yes, they could have. Should they have? No, because he isn't. I'm going to say this to the high heavens. Paul George, at this point in his career, is not worth the max. He's not. And people will say, well, wait a minute, he's 23 points per game. Oh, wait a minute, he's one of the better players. Just watch the games, please. Clipper fans, watch the game every single night. We know what we see. Okay. And it's not more so the talent, because we all know that Paul George has the talent. It's the mentality. It's the want. It's the, I'm going to put up 25 to 30 shots because I know that I have the most talent on the floor and I can get it done. But he doesn't. He puts up 18 shots and doesn't give him a chance to make more or to win. Everyone gets on James Harden, but at least James Harden puts up the shots. At least he tries to make the shots. When things aren't going well for Paul George, it's roaming around in the corner, not really wanting the ball. Get the ball, Chuck. He can get into the paint. He doesn't. And again, it may sound like I am just absolutely shitting on Paul George right now, and I'm trying not to. But all of this talk on the podcast about just, it's so anti-Clippers. Sure, a little bit is the Clippers. Like, they could have offered him that 4th year. They could have been, offered him a better initial contract. But they did the right thing. People don't get it. People don't get that because this is one of the first instances of a team having to go through this type of thing in the new CBA. Down the line, when other teams have to do it, it's not going to be as big of a deal when you have to let go of a player that's not really worth a max, but you could have offered it to him. Okay, it's just not that way. But right now, because the Clippers are one of the first teams to do it, and I believe the Warriors kind of are with Clay, but Clay was on a lesser deal than Paul George was, and he got way less than Paul George did, so not really. The Clippers are the first victims of the new CBA. And I say victims like it hurt their team a lot. I love the deals that they made with the money they got from getting Paul George out of there. They got under the second apron. They got a full MLE. They got the biannual exception. They signed Nicholas Batum. They signed Derrick Jones Jr., who, by the way, and I've mentioned this on many lives before, locked up Paul George in the first round. So they got the PG stopper with that money. And then, listen, I don't know what's going on with this Chris Dunn deal. If somebody in the comments can let me know, please do, because I want Chris Dunn on the Clippers, and I don't know what's going on with the sign and trade. I don't know what's going on with the 3-team deal with Russell Westbrook to Denver or wherever they want to send him. I don't know what's going on with PJ Tucker. I don't know what's going on with Bones Highland. I don't know what's going on with Norman Powell. I don't know what's going on. But it was reported that Chris Dunn was going to be a Clipper, and I'm still going to just hang my hat on that because I've seen it. And that would be another great pickup. They got Mo Bamba. He's better than Mason Plumlee. Sure, I get it. Mo Bamba hasn't lived up to the song. He hasn't lived up to the first-round draft pick. But what has he been? Better than Mason Plumlee. And I like Daniel Tice a lot better than Mason Plumlee in the system that the Clippers had. I just don't get why they didn't play Daniel Tice at all in the playoffs and down the stretch. I don't get that. Well, that's a separate point. So, again, I'm going to hammer this in there. The Clippers did the right thing. I think Paul George did the right thing at the end of the day. He got to go to a contender. He got to go get his bag, his 4th year. Oh my God, he wanted one more year. He just wanted it so bad. And he got his 4th year. Good for him. Get your bag. Go to where you're happy. Clipper fans are happy over here. The Clippers front office is happy over here. It seems like Kawhi Leonard doesn't give a damn because they asked him about it at Team USA practice. And he was like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about that right now. But, and, Paul George mentioned that Kawhi Leonard said, hey, go get your bag, P. So, obviously, Kawhi Leonard didn't really care. And a lot of people are saying, like, oh, Kawhi Leonard knew that Paul George, wasn't him because he didn't really, try to get him back. I mean, I don't really like that take. But if you want to make that take, fine. I'm going to drink some water because my mouth is dry and it's hot. And yeah. And yes, my bottle is a dumbbell. Shout out to my brother. He got it for me, and I've been using it every day. So I worked up a lot there with the Paul George talk. But it's justified. I think it's justified. I like to be the middle ground from fans to media. And I hear what fans are saying, and they sound just like me, just like I just did. So I'm just trying to relay to you how the longtime fans feel, how the short-term fans feel, and how they want to be voiced here. Because I've been a fan for 14 years. I've seen a lot of things. It's been pretty bad. Good grief. I went off there. Again, thank you. I just want to pause here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I see that we have 24 people concurrently right now viewing my stream, and that is 24 more than I had yesterday and 24 more than I had the day before. I am so grateful for every single person that's tuning in right now. So thank you guys so much. Let's see here. I want to talk about DeMar DeRozan too. That whole deal. I'm going to see if I can get this on the screen for you guys because I want to show the full deal here. So DeMar DeRozan was traded. Here, I'll just put this one up. It was a sign and trade, obviously. I'm going to put this on the screen so everybody can see what I'm talking about, and I'm not just blabbering, and you can't just see my face blabbering. So let me see if I can do this. Yeah, let's do that. I actually like this view. Well, actually, I'm going to go here. So, DeMar DeRozan is now a Sacramento King. Shocker there, shocker there. And it kind of is a shocker because we all thought, oh, Lakers. It's the Lakers or the Clippers or, hey, it's one of those teams. The Kings come in kind of last minute. Last week or so has been a little bit of talks, and then they strike and they get him. I personally love the Kings. Excuse me. I love what they have going on up there in Sacramento. I went to school at UOP in Stockton, California. Sacramento was very close. There was this battle between the Kings and the Warriors fans, like, oh, yeah, we're the real grit and grind. Yeah, but we have the champ. There's that thing going on. Much like the Dodgers and Angels here in SoCal. So I will always be a fan of the Kings unless they play the Clippers. So I love this for the Kings. Harrison Barnes, he was okay for them. Good wing, good size. Wasn't really the best defender, wasn't really the best rebounder, wasn't really the best scorer. But he fit okay with the team. He disappeared on many occasions. But you swap him and you send him to the San Antonio Spurs, who I think made out pretty well in this deal. And you get DeMar DeRozan, a 20-point-per-game plus scorer. A guy that, yes, everyone is saying, oh, well, he doesn't shoot the three enough. Well, he doesn't do this well enough. 20-plus points per game is hard to come by in the NBA, just like that. Sure, there's a lot of guys scoring more than ever. Sure, I get that. But a proven scorer that has been 20-plus points per game for a long time now is not easy to come by, especially for a team in Sacramento that doesn't really get the A chip or the best free agents, right? We all know that. They don't really get the best players. They don't really attract some of the best players. But in the past 3 years, they've gotten Malik Monk. They've gotten Sabonis, obviously, through trade. And now they have DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, they got Kevin Huerter in a trade as well. So they signed Malik Monk. Then they signed him to a bigger deal this offseason. And then they go get DeMar DeRozan. So they're kind of building here. The GM, the owner, they're all in. They got this core. And I love the deal for Sacramento. Does it get them up to the top 4? No. They still need to defend. Keegan Murray's probably their best defender right now. Davion Mitchell, obviously there's talk about him in the past few years, but no longer. So I think Keegan Murray's their best defender. DeMar DeRozan, yeah, he's an okay defender, but he doesn't really put forth the effort where I can say, yeah, well, he's going to stop the best player. De'Aaron Fox, not that great of a defender. Domantas Sabonis, not that great of a defender. So while I do like it for their offense, because Harrison Barnes wasn't doing much on defense either. But you bring in DeMar DeRozan and you get better offensively. Because if we remember in that 2023 year, when they got to the first round of the playoffs and lost in 7 to Golden State, they had one of the best offenses in NBA history. Best offenses. And they were a top 4 seed. Now, that was the year where, everything was going awry. Everything was going crazy. Everything, we didn't know. The Clippers were 5th. And, the West was a mess, right? That was one of the weakest Wests we've had. And the Kings got 3rd. I believe it was 3rd. And yeah, it was third because they played the Warriors who were the 6th seed. And they had one of the better offenses. Their defense was atrocious, but they got by on their offense. So I think, and last year they tried to be like, oh, we're gonna vow to be better on defense. We're gonna try to improve that side of the ball, and they did a little bit. They were better than the year before, but their offense was around the same, and the rest of the West got better. So this offseason they go, okay, well, there's not really many defensive guys we can bring in, right? Like we can't really go get like a defensive stopper, like a Jared Vanderbilt. We can't really get a guy like that. So let's just improve the offense. Let's bring back Malik Monk because he's electric and he's one of the best bench players in the NBA. And let's go get a proven veteran scorer in DeMar DeRozan that I think would have fit in a lot of the teams that he was rumored to go to. I love it. Will it be the best thing since sliced bread? No. It won't. But it will improve their offense if they stay healthy. Obviously, that's true with a lot of teams. The Spurs part of it. That's what I want to get to. The Spurs got Harrison Barnes, and I believe, didn't they get a pick or something? I believe the Spurs got a pick. Let me look this up. And if I'm not getting to any chats, I'm not seeing a lot, but if I'm not getting to them, please let me know. I want to see. Let's see, what do the Spurs get? No. No. Maybe is that all the Spurs got? Am I tripping? Maybe I am tripping. Even so. I like what the Spurs did. I know that I just kind of shit on Harrison Barnes there, but they got Chris Paul. They actually did a jersey swap for this one. How about that, guys? They actually did a jersey swap in like a nice graphic. I wouldn't do the blur there. It just kind of looks off, but they did it. They didn't do it with Chris Paul. Yeah, see, this is, oh my God. Can we please, like, I could have found one online, a jersey swap. Can we just do that? He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. Come on. See, look, yeah, Spurs graphic designer said it was his day off. I agree. But yeah, so I like the Spurs getting Harrison Barnes. I do. I think that if they're trying to compete a little bit better, bringing in Chris Paul, bringing in Harrison Barnes, a wing, bringing in a point guard to get Wemby the ball, I get it. You need some veteran pieces here and there to supplement it. I get that. So I like what the Spurs are doing here. I don't like that they traded Rob Dillingham. I think Rob Dillingham is one of the better draft prospects out there. And I don't know why they traded it to Minnesota 7 years down the road. Why? I don't get that, and I talked about it already, and I want to talk about it again, but I'm not going to do that because we already talked about it. But again, I'm not even a Spurs fan. So they have Stephon Castle, they have Harrison Barnes, Chris Paul. I like what the Spurs are doing. People are going to say, well, oh, what? Harrison Barnes? Come on. It's a process, okay? It's a process. Some people just don't get that. They just look at names. They don't really look at the basketball fit and what it can do. So I like it. I like what the Spurs did. It's fine. Go get a veteran guy. But again, this whole Spurs, the Bulls, I don't really like what they're doing I like that they're blowing it up. They got Chris Duarte. They got Jalen Smith. They got Matas Boselis, who I actually really like. So the Bulls, they're going to have Lonzo Ball back. That's for sure. And I think Lonzo Ball is going to be pretty good when he comes back. I do. I'm on the Lonzo Ball train for all you people. I am. I think he's going to be pretty good. But my point here is I love what the Spurs did. I don't really like what the Bulls did, although I do like that they're rebuilding. And here's another thing. Actually, let me put that screen back up here. Can we talk about this guy, Zach LaVine? Please? Because I like Zach LaVine. I like his... Okay, I'm not going to talk about him on the Lakers. But this report came out, right? Where it's like the Bulls are hoping to attach 2 second-round picks to offload his contract. And I get the contract. Okay, I do. It's not a good contract. Like, honestly, it's one of the higher contracts in the league. But Zach LaVine, when he's healthy, and I know that's a big if. I know that, you always talk about, oh, well, Kawhi Leonard can't stay healthy. Why would you pay him? It's kind of the same thing with Zach LaVine, right? Like, he doesn't really stay healthy a lot. But when he is healthy, he's one of the better offensive players this game has. Can score at all 3 levels. His defense is could be better. He has the ability to be a good defender. But at times, the effort isn't there. The on-ball stuff is decent. Off-ball, But his offensive game, I mean, this guy is electric. Slam dunk contest champion, I believe 2 times. Maybe even 3, I'm not sure. He's got athleticism. He can shoot it. He's developed that into his game. He can get to the rim and finish at the rim. He can kind of play off ball, although on ball he's pretty good as well. So I just don't get why there's also other reports where it's like nobody wants him. Like the Warriors declined a Zach LaVine trade when the Bulls were like, "Hey, please, can we please please take him? We'll give you we'll even give you a pick attached to him. Do you want him?" And the Warriors are like, nah. Is there something that I'm missing from this guy other than his contract? I guess his injuries, which are those are 2 big things. But the potential is crazy. Am I wrong? Am I missing something with Zach LaVine? What if one of these teams just said, I know I keep bringing up the Clippers. What if the Clippers just said, okay, we want him. What does it take? And the Bulls go, well, we want Terrence Mann. We want Norman Powell. And maybe one of your young guys. Can you give me maybe Kobe Brown or something? And I know that the contracts have to add up, so maybe that doesn't work. They'd have to attach a lot more. But just something like that. What if the Bulls said that? If I'm the Clippers, I'm going, yeah, okay. Sure. We'll take him off your hands. And actually attach those 2 second-round picks because we're going to need a lot of those. We don't have much of those. And does that get it done? I mean, according to everything that I've seen, nobody wants Zach LaVine for whatever reason. I don't know why. Zach LaVine's good. It's actually really good. He's all-star level when he's healthy. And I know that he's not healthy a lot, but he's had a lot of time off. I feel like he's going to be fully healthy going into next season. I just don't know why there's not a lot of interest in this guy. Right? I mean, this guy's really, really good still, offensively. I know the defense is a question mark. I know the injuries are a question mark. But the potential is infinite. This guy can be a 25-plus point per game scorer. And nobody wants him? Why? Take a chance. One of these teams that needs to make, a splash. I don't know about the Warriors. The Lakers, maybe? The Lakers have not signed anybody. Why not just say, all right, we'll take him. We'll give you Rui and, I don't know. We'll give you, one of our young guys that never play, as per usual. And you can have him. And we get him. Come on, bring him on. Bring him to LA. He went to UCLA. Bring him over. Like, I just sometimes I don't get it, and I know that there's a reason, but as a fan and as somebody that watches the game closely and covers the game, I don't get it. This guy can change the landscape of a season if he's healthy. And I know that's a big if. I know. But isn't the chance worth it? Isn't the risk worth taking if you're kind of out of options to get you up into that extra stratosphere, to get you up in that upper echelon? And off the top of my head, I can't really think of teams that would like really need him, especially teams in the West. Like Phoenix can't do anything. Dallas, they're set. Like the Clippers, okay. Lakers, okay. OKC's not going to take him. Denver, long shot, but no. Minnesota, no. So again, there's probably not a lot of teams that are like really trying to push everything to the center of the table to get him. But if the Clippers went and got Zach LaVine, I'd put them in the top 4. Harden, LaVine, and Kawhi with some defense around it. Come on, man. That would push them to the top 4. Right now, they're top 6, and I really do believe that, and everyone obviously disagrees with me. They think they're going to be a lottery team. They think they're going to be an 11, 12, 13 seed, but this guy, if he's healthy, I know people are going to make fun of him because he's going to be playing with Kawhi Leonard, and he's not healthy either. They just love to make fun of the Clippers. Whether it's good, whether something good happens or bad, people are going to clown them. But the potential is there. Like, what if he's healthy? I sound like such a typical Clipper fan right now. It's so funny. But again, the potential for it is there. I would take the swing for him. I think he's one of the better offensive players in the game when he's healthy. But I mean, this comment right here, are you kidding me? Like, I think the potential could be great. So I think a team should make a really good swing at him. Did anything else happen? I feel like we're kind of stale here. Like Lauri Markkanen is not going to be traded. The Lakers haven't done anything. Bronny James is on the Summer League team. Summer League's happening. That's pretty cool. I'm excited for Summer League. I think that Summer League is going to be really fun. I think that we're going to see a lot of good play. Obviously, it's not going to be to the hype that we saw last year with Wembanyama, but it's going to be really fun. And I think that, anytime you get a lot of young studs and a lot of young good players in one situation, one event in Vegas, I think it's really fun. I think it's really cool. So I'm excited for Summer League. I also wanted to talk, I know I have it up here, and I may lose a lot of views doing this, but I wanted to talk about the Dodgers. Hey, baseball. Get this, guys. We can talk baseball. Because here at Money Mo Media, we don't have anybody telling us what we can and can't do. So I want to talk about baseball and my beloved Dodgers. Because the Dodgers, ladies and gentlemen, are not playing great baseball. They just beat the Brewers in a 3-game series. But there's a stat, and let me see if I can find it, where they have been playing just above 500 ball since the beginning of May. That's right. The almighty Dodgers, with all the talent that they have, they are at a 500 clip since then. And again, let me see if I can find the actual stats for you so I don't just spew a bunch of stuff, which I already have been. But the Dodgers have not been doing that fantastic. Now, this is from 4 days ago. Excuse me. But it's still the same. The Dodgers are now 20-18 over the last 38 games. Since May 21st, they have the 14th best record in baseball. Now, does that scream World Series to anybody? And I know what people are going to say. Oh my God, I've heard it from everyone. It's only July. It's only June. Stop worrying about it. When you build bad habits now, when you build bad habits early in seasons, and this goes for baseball, this goes for football, and this goes for basketball, and probably soccer, and probably tennis, and probably golf, and probably every single sport in the world. When you build bad habits in the regular season, and you don't change them over the course of that season, you're bound to have those same things happen to you when the postseason comes around. So the bottom of the Dodgers lineup is not good. Chris Taylor had a pretty good stretch a couple weeks ago. But since then, kind of went back to normal. Max Muncy is probably not going to see the field until after the All-Star break. Well after the All-Star break. And that's one of your better hitters in your lineup preseason-wise. So you're not going to get that for a while. Shohei Ohtani is up and down, and obviously still has a fantastic stat line. He's on track for a triple crown, but he goes through lulls. Obviously, it's a long season. He goes through lulls. Mookie Betts is going to be out until the middle of August. And Nate, you bring up a fantastic point. How much longer until they finally give up on Gavin Lux? Let me see if I can find his stats. Because Gavin Lux, we all know, he had that bad knee injury in spring training last year. And, that kind of ruined the momentum for him. Right? That kind of ruined really what was supposed to be his takeoff season last year. And he sat out the entirety of the year, never recovered. He still doesn't look right. He's still kind of off, right? He's not the same base runner. He's not moving laterally the same. His bat has obviously not reached the potential that it was before the injury. Power-wise and contact-wise, Gavin Lux was a 290 hitter for back-to-back years, I believe, before that injury. Like, he was a solid major league hitter, and a reason why he was one of the best prospects in all of baseball. But at this point, like, Gavin Lux is who he is. The season started in late March. It's now almost going to be mid-July. If he hasn't gotten it together by now, I mean, we've seen enough of a sample size. And I get what people are going to say. This is what people are going to say. And Brandon, you're probably right on this one too. Lux over Michael Busch is a horrible decision. And Nate, you're right as well. The way he runs, he doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look like the same guy that we saw pre-injury. And Brandon brings up another good point. He asked Rojas staying at short when Mookie comes back, move him to second, Vargas to third. Now, this is what I would do. And I have made so many suggestions for the Dodgers front office over the past few years that I feel like I'm a part of the front office as well. So what I would do when Mookie Betts comes back, leave Rojas at short, because Miguel Rojas is having one of the better years of his career at the plate, and we all know how good he is on defense. Leave him at shortstop. He's a shortstop, and he's having a good year at the plate. Leave him there. I don't care about what Mookie... And I know Mookie Betts is their star, and they got to cater to him. But do you want to cater to your player, or do you want to win a championship? It is put up or shut up time for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you have to sacrifice things in order to get to where you want to get to. So I'm not criticizing really the front office. Mookie Betts is not a shortstop. Guys, he's not. And that's fine. That is so fine. It's okay to not be a shortstop. It's okay. I was a shortstop at Glendale Community College. When I got to UOP, they wanted me to play second. They wanted me to play first. They wanted me to play everywhere. I said, yep, let's do it. because I know how to play second base. I know how to play first. Whatever helps the team, man. So as much as they want to cater to Mookie and, oh, well, he feels better at the plate when he's at shortstop. He's not the best shortstop on the team. He's not. Miguel Rojas is. So leave him there. If you want to keep Mookie Betts in the infield, put him at second base. Who else is going to play second base? Somebody in here name one better player at second base than Mookie Betts. Because it sure as hell isn't Gavin Lux. It sure as hell isn't Chris Taylor. And Austin Barnes has played second a lot too. It's not him. It's not Kike. It's not Miguel Vargas. That's a lot of players. Put Mookie at second. Fine. If you want to keep him in the infield, great. That's fine. In all honesty, I think that Mookie Betts should still be in right field. I don't know why they're giving Jason Hayward this unbelievably huge role on the team. Jason Hayward should be a bench player for the Los Angeles Dodgers and play sparingly. I know he's a great clubhouse guy. I know that he's a Gold Glover in the past. I know that he still has a great arm. But Mookie Betts is a Gold Glove right fielder and has been for a long time. And he's had great years in the outfield, also at the plate. So this whole thing about saving his legs, I feel like his legs are being used more at shortstop. When I played shortstop, I felt like I was in the action all the time. I was moving this way, shifting, covering on double plays, covering bunt plays, getting ground balls, moving to my left, ranging to my right. In the outfield, sure, there's a lot of ground to cover, but you get the ball hit to you sparingly. You don't have to be as involved all the time. So that, in theory, would save his legs if that's what they're trying to do. I've heard that. And Miguel Vargas has to play. Right now. He has to play right now. Miguel Vargas is hitting over 320 on the season. There was a stretch before these last series that he played where he didn't see I think he saw one at bat in a span of a week and a half or something like that. And this is the best version of Miguel Vargas that we have seen in the major leagues. The best. He looks locked in at the plate. And they weren't playing him because they were catering to, Chris Taylor and Kike Hernandez at third base. And this leads to my next point. And this is a big one. And it may seem like I hate the Dodgers. I love the Dodgers. I cover the Dodgers. I write for the Sporting Tribune for the Dodgers. I want to see them win championships. Okay? The fan favorite thing. The fans have to stop. We have to stop. I get that Kike Hernandez is a fan favorite. I get that he wears a banana suit. I get that he dances all over the clubhouse. I get it. That matters. That doesn't mean that he has to be an integral part of the team when he's on the field. It doesn't. Especially when there are better players that you could play over him. Chris Taylor as well. God love these guys. Dodger legends. Versatile, dynamic, can play multiple positions, won a World Series with the Dodgers. These guys will always be all-time Dodgers. But they're not as good as they were. They aren't. Miguel Vargas is better than both of those guys. Rojas is better than both of those guys on both sides of the ball. Why are they still playing consistent playing time? There are the fan favorite thing, it gets to the front office, I feel like, as well. Because there's no reason why Miguel Vargas shouldn't be getting playing time all the time over Gavin Lux, over Kike Hernandez, over Chris Taylor. Excuse me. There's no reason. So, you know, when I see these things happen, and I know that Max Muncy's out, and that throws a huge wrench into things because he was such a big part of their team and still is. And I hope that he comes back healthy because they need that power threat. I know his defense is subpar, but he's a big power threat in the middle of that lineup, and they've missed it a little bit. So the Dodgers have to stop playing the fan favorites and start playing the guys that win you ball games. How many times in the 10th month of the year, in October, do we leave disappointed in the past 2 years? Past 3 years? The Dodgers lost last year, got swept by their in-division opponent, the Diamondbacks, who just skated and coasted until they played the Dodgers and then locked in. In 2022, they lost to another in-division opponent, the San Diego Padres. Because the Dodgers were 20 games up, and the Padres were scrapping, and they were playing their best players, and they had more fight and energy, and they beat the Dodgers. The big almighty Dodgers. In 2021, Walker Buehler hurts his arm because Max Scherzer says that his arm is messed up, which is, again, is egregious, but it is what it is. And the Dodgers lose in the NLCS. It kind of wasn't even a competition. I know it went 6, but it didn't feel like 6. Okay? So that's 3 years since the bubble year of 2020 that the Dodgers have disappointed in the playoffs. I understand the 2021 year. You get to the NLCS after you win a World Series. Okay, cool. But with that team that they had Trey Turner, Max Scherzer, Corey Seager. They had a stacked team, and they lost. But after all of these shortcomings, and after all of these disappointments in October, after all of the disappointment that Dodger fans have felt over the past 3 years, even before that, in 2019, they lost in the first round. In 2018, they didn't win the World Series. In 2017, the cheating scandal. I get that. 2016, they lost to the Cubs. 2015, I think they did too. It goes back. After all this time, the Dodgers should look at it and say, I don't care about fan favorites. I don't care about what people love. If a guy dances in the clubhouse, I want guys that are going to go out there and win me ball games. Plain and simple. Brandon, I know I see your comments. I'm going to get to those really, really quick. But hold on, let me just say this. Brandon, okay, he's a good point. It should be about who wins me the most games, not about, Kike, we love him, so he's got to play sometimes, and we offered him this type of contract. And no! It should be about winning championships. It should be about putting the best 9 out there, night in and night out. Because if not, the Dodgers are going to lose in the first round again. They are. They're going to lose in the NLCS again. They are. And Brandon says it right here. This team right now is currently constructed is not a World Series roster. It's not. You can look at the standings. You can look at how many games over 500 they are. You can look at the glitz and the glamour that is the Dodgers. And again, I know I sound like I'm just piling on right now, but what did I say in the beginning of the show? I want to be the voice of the fans in media. I want to be that segue between the fans and the media and present that to everybody. And this right here is how fans feel. I've talked to many of them. Maybe the Dodgers should start doing that. Talk to the fans. Don't talk to the scouts. Talk to the fans. The fans pay for the micheladas. They pay for the hot dogs. They pay for the Korean barbecue fried chicken buckets. They pay for the Modelo's and all of those, all the drinks, the cute little margarita cups. They pay for all that stuff. They pay for a lot of the things you see around the stadium. They love this team. They go to the stadium pour in and night out, whether the team's doing bad or not. They pour in. But what do the real fans really want to see? A championship. A 162 game championship. I understand they won in 2020. They won the 2020 World Series. No other in the 2020 MLB season, the Dodgers were the champions. Nobody can take that away from them. But since then, they haven't shown that they can both do it in a bubble scenario and outside of that. Other teams have. The Braves didn't win in the bubble. They won the next year outside of it. The Astros didn't win in the bubble. They won in 2022 outside, actually 20, whenever it was, outside of the bubble. Okay? So this team is not built to win a championship this year. It should be. They should be running away with the division up by 10 plus games. They should be one of the best bottom of the lineups in the league. They're 20 games over 500. I get it. They're 7 up in the division. I get it. But I like to look at the process, okay? I like to look at how they're doing currently or in the past 20 games or in the past 30 games. That gives you a better feel of how the team is. And since early May, the Dodgers haven't been that much better than the Reds or any of these teams that are middling around 500. They had a great April, and that's what got them off to that huge lead. But since then, it's been up and down. And I just feel like when I watch this team, and I watch them every single night, I write about them. I write the recaps. I cover the team. Okay? They should have more hunger. When its base is loaded in the 8th or the 9th, I don't see any emotion. And I know Freddie Freeman, they had a lot of clutch games over the past week. They beat the Diamondbacks in walk-off fashion. They beat the Brewers. They beat all these, They've had a good stretch of clutch games over the past week and a half. Okay, I'll give them that. I will. But is it too much to show emotion? Teoscar Hernandez shows a lot of emotion. But I need dogs, right? The Dodgers need some dogs, some energy, some fire. What did we say after last year? The Dodgers need that. They need that jolt, right? They need guys that don't care what anyone says, and they're going to go out there no matter if their face is on the scoreboard or on a billboard or whatever. They're going to go out there and get the job done. And that's what the Astros had, and I know a lot of people hate the Astros. That's what they had. That's what the Rangers had last year. That's what the Diamondbacks had last year. That's what the Padres had when they beat the Dodgers in 22. That's what the Phillies have this year. That's what the Phillies had a couple years ago when they made the World Series. They just had guys that don't care. They roar. They, opened their jerseys, showed their chest hair, chains, threw their bats, launched them into the crowd, jumped into home plate, yelled at their dugout. I want to see that from the Dodgers. And I know that's kind of like an extracurricular thing. That's not really like pertaining to baseball. But God forbid you show a little bit of emotion if you get a guy in from third in the 7th, 8th, and 9th to go ahead or to tie the game. God forbid you hit a double to go ahead and you scream at your dugout at the top of your lungs. I mean, I don't know if it's LA. I don't know if it's the type of player. I don't know if it's the type of environment where somebody told them you can't do that. But if you look at some of the better teams in the playoffs, and if you look at some of the highlights in the playoffs, you look at what they do after they get a hit, after they hit a home run. And then you compare that to what the Dodgers do. I'll leave it at that. The Dodgers need a starting pitcher. The Dodgers need end of the bench help, end of the lineup help. and they just need to start playing their prospects, man. Bring up James Paxton, bye. Okay, some of these guys, bye. Thank you. We loved you here, but we need to win a title, and you're not helping that. It's hard. It's very hard to let go. Not just in baseball, not just in sports, and everything. It's hard to let go of things. You get a new device, you look at the old, and you're like, well, maybe I could use it for this, this, and this. Just get rid of it, man. You're not going to use it anymore. The new one's better. Miguel Vargas is better. Miguel Rojas is better. Use them. You don't need to keep the other guys around. I get the clubhouse is a real thing. You're still going to have a great clubhouse, man. There's some really good guys in that clubhouse. I promise you, it'll be okay. Upgrade. Use the thousands of prospects in your system, one of the top-rated systems in all of baseball. Use some of them and go get an elite player to win you a title. Dodger fans are frustrated, the real ones. I know the fans that just go to the games for social media, they don't really care, but the real ones understand this. And I've heard this conversation many times with people that I love and adore and that know the Dodgers and that care about the Dodgers and have followed them for a long time. So it's not just me spitballing. I'm trying to tell you what Dodger fans feel. And I'm just putting it out onto social media, onto the screen so you guys can hear about it. I'm going to end the live because I have been talking bad about too many people tonight. And look, this is no filter. That's why I love doing these lives. It's no filter. I love to talk with everybody. I love the communication. I see that we upped our views to 35. I'm so grateful for even one, like I've mentioned so many times. And to see that 35 people are listening to me talk bad about players and teams and organizations, that means that you guys really like what I do here, and I really appreciate it. It's been a while. I promise I'll be back again this week. I'm not going to put a number on it because I'm not really sure. There's a lot of things going on, but it was so good to be back doing this. I thank you guys so much for listening, for watching. This will all be on YouTube. I put all these up on YouTube if you want to watch the full thing, listen to it in the background, whatever. It's on my page at MoneyMo Media. I will be posting clips from this on TikTok at MoneyMo Media there as well. You can follow me at gmona48 if you want to hear me rant about other things on X or on Instagram. We post all of our stuff. Make sure you follow the Script Writers Show on all socials. We're posting cool segments and hot takes, and me and my boy Brandon are just going off about different things. Football season is coming up, so we may talk about that in a little bit, but NBA free agency is here, the Olympics are here, MLB is here, and I'm here to discuss it with all you guys and just go off the rocker because why not? This is my page and we get to do whatever we want. So guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Grant Mona from Money Mo Media signing out.